Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I was extremely excited this time to make this video because oh my god, you guys made me go viral. I am so happy that my testimony reached the people they needed to reach. That was the goal. And to encourage someone that is also waiting that there's hope. You are not alone. Thank you for my new subscribers. Hey, I am glad you joined this community. We are all about sharing. Okay, we're going to share our experiences to help each other. I did make a promise to God that I was going to do this. And to go through what I went through, I was constantly online trying to find information. And with my condition, I found next to nothing. So I promised myself I was going to do this and share my story. The DMs I got, the messages I got, the number of women reaching out to me was crazy. And it really hurts me. Like it broke my heart that people go through this and they feel like they needed to hide it. They felt ashamed to even talk about it. No, this channel we are unashamed. Okay, we are going to talk about everything. We are not going to leave anything off the table. So I'm so excited you joined. And those of you who have already been subscribed to the channel, thank you so much for the support. This has been a very long video that I needed to make. I've promised you guys forever, and I finally got the chance to sit down and do it for you. This is going to be exactly a part 1 because I know it's going to be long and I don't want to take too much of your time. Also, this is just going to be the story, like my journey. I'm not going to go into in-depth like my IVF process. I'm not going to go in-depth, but I would definitely talk about the fact that I went through it, and then I'll make other subsequent videos talking about them in depth. I just want to give you a summary of it so that when you come on my channel, you know what I went through. Also, another disclaimer is that I'm not a medical professional. Guys, I see you guys DMing me about certain conditions. I really do wish I have information on these things for you, but I'm not a medical professional. I'm sharing an experience I went through. My experience I have knowledge of because I went through it. I experienced it, so I can share it with you guys and give you an idea of what I did. You can choose to go with it, and if you do choose to go with these ideas or these points that I give you, please seek medical help. Like, talk to your doctors first before you pursue anything that you hear. Do your research. That is number 1. Research. Do a lot of research. That is one thing I did not do in my initial processes that I learned the hard way. So do your research, but take it and ask questions. It's your body. Ask the questions, and I'm sure your doctors will be more than happy to answer them for you. And you know what, I don't want to go so long in this introduction, but yeah, this is my story. So I do have my phone here, so if you see me look down, it means that I'm checking on my notes because I did write some notes down for you guys so I don't go off track, which I always find myself doing. Let me start from the beginning. Before I came to the US, I was living in Ghana. My subscribers and those of you who do not know where Ghana is, it's in West Africa, and I'm Ghanaian. I was born and raised in Ghana till I was 27 years old, where I migrated to the US because I got married. Okay, my husband lived here. He was living here for 7 to 8 years before I joined him here, but before then we were dating. We've been high school sweethearts forever. I've known him all my life. You go back to the videos, you know when I met him and all that, but I've known him all my life, and we got married in 2015, and I migrated to join him here in 2017. Okay, he's sleeping. So I migrated to join him here. And in 2015, when we did get married, I got pregnant immediately after the wedding, and I miscarried, obviously. And it was kind of confusing for me at that time because it was weird to me. I don't know what happened. I don't know what I did wrong. But for years, I felt like probably because I told someone too soon that I was pregnant, that was the reason. Yeah, and I was beating myself up that I shouldn't have told anyone. It was too soon to tell anyone anything, which was kind of stupid, but okay. I wasn't really too concerned because if I should get pregnant that early, meaning it was going to be an easy breezy for me. It was going to be so easy. But we all know what happened. Almost 9 years down the road. I remember when I went through that, I was confused, but I didn't seek any medical help. So fast forward, as I said, I'm going to pick up on the point. Fast forward, my husband completed my paperwork and I was able to join him in the US. And that was amazing, okay? I was happy to join him, but of course, I wasn't also ready then to start a family. Before I moved, as I said, when I miscarried, I wasn't really concerned because if I had gotten pregnant that fast, it was going to be easy for me. And also, I didn't want to start a family living in Ghana whilst he lived outside the country. It was we were in two worlds, okay? Worlds apart. It wasn't easy being in a distance relationship and then I would have a baby on top. That was something I didn't feel like I was going to be able to navigate. And I was also out of college and I wanted to get myself situated first. So there were too many reasons why I wasn't ready then. But when I moved to the US, I was still not super ready, okay? I moved to a new country. The only person I knew was him and his family. I wanted to get situated. I wanted to get settled. I wanted to get a job. I wanted to be my own person because I was living under a shadow. I was living under him completely. Like if he eats, I eat. If he sleeps, I sleep. That was my life when I moved in or moved to the US, and I didn't want to be a burden. He's known me all his life. He knows that I've never wanted to be a burden on him. He didn't have it, like he didn't mind. Anything I wanted, he gave me. So he didn't mind at all. But I'm just who I am. Okay, I didn't want to be a burden on anyone. So the goal was to start working and then we would discuss starting a family. So within 6 months, I'd already gotten good jobs. Like, I don't know how all that happened, but I would not take the credit. I know the credit belongs to God. I've always had great jobs ever since I migrated to the US. So thank you, God, for that. So within 6 months, I had gotten situated. I had gotten a good job and we were good, okay? I was working, he was working, and then we were trying, even though we were not talking about it. We didn't tell each other that, oh, we are trying. We were trying because there was no protection anywhere, so we were still trying, but nothing happened. Funny enough, within those times, nothing happened. So I was like, you know what, this is the time, Junior. Let me go and see a doctor, and then we will take it from there. I scheduled an appointment, and I think I waited for 3 months more to get in to talk to someone, and that will probably be in the early 2018 where I got to talk to someone. So the first gynecologist I met, a very sweet person, and we had a conversation. I told her the reason why I was here and I wanted to start a family. So she wanted to do an initial check and initial processes, you know what they do already. She did that, and from that examination, I saw it on her face that she's found something. When she first touched me, she asked me, do you feel this? And I was like, no. She was like, I feel something. Do you feel pain? I said, no. And frankly, I didn't feel anything. And she was like, I want to schedule an ultrasound for you. I want to see what the uterus looks like and all that. She scheduled one the same day for me. They checked, and she was like, since my goal is to start a family, what she would do is that I highly recommend I see a reproductive endocrinologist, okay? They help with reproduction. So my naive self did not do any research on the places to go, even in Delaware, or what I should expect when I meet a reproductive endocrinologist, or at least have an idea of what I was getting myself into, because she didn't give me, I don't remember she gave me more information. She only just said she thinks I should be referred to another doctor. So she was done that. I did get the name of the doctor she referred me to, and that is Reproductive Associate, and now I think they are called RAD. She referred me to a rad and a doctor that, anyways, she did refer me to rad, and I met this doctor who, I feel like she was in sales. Get as many bodies that you can get and then move on to the next. I was literally a number to this doctor, but we will talk about that later. The first day I met, the conversation was like 15 minutes. Your doctor said they referred you to me. I just want to do a full examination of your body and see what is going. I'll schedule another ultrasound. So she did schedule an ultrasound. Said they found something, but they want to get the right diagnosis for me. So what she did was to make me do another scan. This one was is it MRI? Yes, MRI, I think so. So I did that, and she said from the images that she got, she diagnosed me of having a uterus diagnosis. It's another form of abnormality where your uterus, instead of fusing at birth, you were born with this. These are things you can't control. You were practically born with these things. When your organs were growing, there are two, this is called mullary, that needed to fuse together into one cavity to be a uterus. But with my case, a uterus didelphys is when the two ducts do not fuse together and they become two different cavities. So if your uterus needed to be one cavity like this, it didn't develop well, so it's two cavities like this. That is what a uterus didelphys is. And each cavity has its own fallopian tube. Imagine at the end of the month here, the egg is released from this right side. Okay, it may be the left on your side, but from this side, and you ovulate, and it ends up in this cavity, and your partner's semen goes into the other cavity. How do you get pregnant? That is the analogy she gave me. And she explained that normally with this type of abnormality, the second uterus is so tiny that it can't even hold a baby. Normally, okay, normally. But with my situation, it's like my child would have two houses and decide which one he or she would want to live in. They all had the same shape. They were all good to hold a baby. I got a lot of chemical pregnancies. I get pregnancy tests. Sometimes my husband goes like, let's just wait and see what happens, and they all end up in miscarriages. So she was like, with your condition, what I would highly suggest, I do a surgery. So the surgery she recommended was a hysteroscopy. This word I find difficult in mentioning, but I'll put it on the screen, don't come for me. And a laparoscopy. So she did these two surgeries all at once. So she suggested that the best route to start a family is to do an IUI, and after that, if that does not work, she would highly recommend I do the IVF. So from the discussion, I was like, so we are going to try IUI, and if it doesn't work, we do IVF. That is a lot to me. I feel like it was going to be too much. If the end goal is eventually doing IVF, then I will highly suggest that we just jump right into it. Let's just go straight to IVF instead of doing IUI and then IVF. I discussed it with my husband, and he felt the same way too. And so she was like, okay, she is okay with that. We will just start the IVF, and then she'll get me the IVF coordinator to discuss everything with her, and then that's it. That is how this doctor works. She just does consultation within 15 to 20 minutes. That's it. You will not see it till the day you are going to do your transfer or the day you do your egg retrieval. I only talk to the coordinators, I only talk to the nurses, and that's it. I did talk to the coordinator, and she ordered the drugs that I needed for the IVF and all that. According to that doctor too, she said my body actually, from the test that we did, my progesterone was good, my body was producing the hormones that they needed to do. And frankly, I had regular periods. Like, nothing about me shows that I was going to have difficulties getting pregnant. I don't even cramp when I'm on my period. But she told me my body was already producing a lot of what they need. So the protocol she's going to put me on for the egg retrieval would not be too much. It's not going to stimulate my ovaries that much because my body produces enough. I said, okay. So with her parts, we did the first round of IVF. Actually, my only round of IVF was done with it. For the egg retrieval, I was able to retrieve 22 eggs. To fertilize, I think 18. And to get to the 5-stage embryo, 8 of them made it to that stage. All this was done in 2018. And at that time, I was 28 years old. My husband was also 28, so we were both very young. We didn't need any genetic testing because we were below the age of 30, and that gives them a low risk of having any chromosomal abnormality. So that was great. We froze the 8 so that my body can rest a while before we start the transfers. We didn't start the transfers till 2019. So in the year 2019, I did 4 embryo transfers. That obviously did not work. With this hospital, the doctor, the first time I did the transfer, I did not do my research. I did not learn. I didn't even know what my body was going through. I didn't even know my body that much. Okay, I'd already discovered a crazy fact about me, that I had a didelphys uterus. Nothing, like, it's weird. I had no idea that I had that. That is something that I was soaking it in already. All I had it in the back of my mind was that IVF was guaranteed. By the end of 2019, I will be a mom and life goes on, period. And I was also just constantly working non-stop, trying to make life great. You know, life. You live in a country where everything is paid for. Like, you need to pay for everything. Bills. You are living 2 double lives. You're trying to make it in the US and also make it back home in Ghana. You help family, you help friends. It was just too much, so you can't afford not to work. So I'm working, and I'm also battling with fertility issues. So in 2019, the first transfer obviously did not work. My protocol was kind of easy, normal. My lining grew so fast. That was never an issue. My medications were very minimal. They reduced them because the body was already bodying. The body was doing what it's supposed to be or do already. So the first one did not work. After the first one did not work, I went to her. We did a consultation, and she explained that frankly speaking, sometimes IVF, the first ones will not work, so that is fine. We'll do the second one. I think within a few, like less than 2 months, we did a second one. It did not work. Bear in mind, the first one, there was a positive test, okay, but the line kept declining. Instead of lining progressing, it was declining. Okay, the second one too ended up in a positive test, but it kept declining. But however, it was not declining that fast. It was like tick 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 for some time, and I was rushing to work and I fell before the beta test. I fell. When I went in for the test, I was told that yes, you are pregnant, but your numbers are low and it looks like it's declining. So they will schedule another test in 2 days to see. And when they did, my numbers were definitely declining. So they asked me to stop the medication and eventually wait to bleed out. So fast forward, I did the third one. The third one, she said probably maybe I should add baby aspirin, and also she would add blood thinners to it as well. And I asked her what. At that point, I started realizing, Rita, you have to advocate for yourself. You have to do research. Like, why are you just going in and taking the doctor's word for it? Like, that was really very wrong of me. But of course, I'm not going to beat myself over spilled milk. I did ask her why we needed the blood thinners, and she said probably my blood is thick and sometimes it needed blood to flow to the uterus to make it work well. So the blood thinner would thin my blood a little bit. Okay, so then I pursued the third round, which also ended up with a positive test, but it did not work. And at that point, I was like, what is happening? So I went to her, spoke out. I told her that I did not want the blood thinners anymore because it bloated me. It made me gain so much weight. And the third one, I was actually trying. The third one, I did try. I did all that I could to make it work, but it did not work. The IVF process wasn't as painful to me than the frozen embryo transfer, because you have to inject yourself every day for 2 weeks before the transfer and then 2 weeks after, and if there's a positive, you inject yourself for 3 months just to sustain a pregnancy. So it was a lot for me and my body. Obviously, third one did not work, and the fourth one was the straw that broke the camel's back. The first one did not even work at all, and she did not listen to me when I told her that I did not want to do the blood thinners anymore. She kept adding it to my protocol and made it look like I needed that. I reached out to her and I wanted to know why it did not work, and she sent me an email. Now I was really emotional because that was my fourth transfer within a year. That is in 2019. In a year, I was like, what is wrong? She's telling me there's nothing wrong with me, I am good, but why is this not being successful? And she said at this point she doesn't know. And at the age of 29 years old, this woman said my best bet to becoming a mother was through surrogacy. She gave up on me. She didn't even want to try at all. First and foremost, she misdiagnosed me. Let me just put out a spoiler alert. She did misdiagnose me, and then she had the audacity to recommend something. I'm not saying surrogacy. I was going to do surrogacy at the end, and I probably would do it in the future because pregnancy is not easy. But yeah, but to give up on a 29-year-old just like that because you feel like there's another person where you can get more money from, because 4 ounces of frozen embryo transfer was not cheap. It was expensive, but of course she was done and done with me. So she pushed me aside. She said she recommend I talk to one of her colleagues who is really vested or very knowledgeable about my situation. You knew that and you did not push me to her before then. This woman was just horrible. Sorry, but I'm not going to dedicate this video to her. It's just, it is what it is anyway. So at that point I gave up on pursuing fertility altogether because my body was exhausted. I was tired. 2019 was just about IVF. It was too much. So before we entered 2020, I made myself a promise that I was going to live. I was going to travel. I was going to enjoy my life and not have fertility or childbirth at the back of my mind like I did in 2019. We all know what happened in 2020. COVID hit bad and we all were stuck at home. We were navigating life, and some of us were just, it was too much. It was crazy. 2020 was crazy. Even though 2020 we did good things, me and my husband accomplished a lot. We bought our first home in 2020, but there were so many craziness happening also. So it was too much to even think about fertility. It was just a lot. 2021 also went by. I did not do anything because I had given up. I said God should take the wheel. It was too much for me. I wasn't going to do it anymore. So I remember in 2022, I was asleep when I was woken up by my husband, and he was like, Rita, we need to talk. And I was like, okay, why? What's up? He said, I want you to try again. And I was like, try what? And he was like, let's try again, this IVF again. And I said no, because I didn't want to go through it again. It was too much for my body. It was time consuming too, and I did not want to really go through again. But he explained that we should just try one time. And even before that discussion, we've had one thing I never did was to hide the fact that I was trying. Anyone who asked me the question whether I wanted kids or I had kids was, oh, do you have kids? And I go like, no, but I want some. I'm trying. I wish I get them. So I did have people giving me their 2 cents, advising me. There are some I did not take, but some I took, especially those saying, Rita, if you wanted to start a fertility treatment, don't do it here in Delaware. They kept telling me. But one, work, and because of the distance, I wasn't really thinking about it. But this time people were recommending either to go to New York or Philadelphia. New York was too far, but Philly was a little shorter. Philly was just here, so I could choose Philly. So I was like, okay, this time If you junior insists we should try, change the institution, we should try somewhere else, okay. But because of what I went through, I went with the generalization that white doctors really do not care for black patients. But I had that perception, and I was just looking for black doctors when I was searching for a new gynecologist. So I found one. I did go there, and when I did go there, I did talk to a new doctor who was very nice. She was really lovely, and she did all the examination and everything. But that time, 2022, I was 31, turning 32. She made a comment that did not sit well with me. I was very heartbroken, and it put me in tears. She said, if you were below the age of 30, I could have done a few things to see what we can do. But because you are more than 30, I would highly recommend you talk to a reproductive endocrinologist because you are kind of old. I'm like, I'm just 30. Like, how do people catch you off at 30 and think getting pregnant is going to be too difficult? It's so heartbreaking when you hear these things. But Americans really deal with a lot of statistics. So statistically, 30 years, you are old. But anyways, she said she was going to recommend a fertility facility or a reproductive endocrinologist for me to pursue my dream of becoming a mother. I remember I sat in the car, I cried. I called my husband. He was like, how did it go? And I said what she told me, crying. One thing my husband told me was, she is not good, so don't cry. And I don't even know why you're crying. It's like when I cry, it pisses him off. It's like, why are you crying? She's not good. Stop crying and come home. He didn't go with me to that appointment because he had work to do. So she definitely did recommend a place for me. She gave me two places. She gave me the RAD reproductive place, the first place I went to, and I said, hell no, I didn't want to do it. And she said the only other place is in Philly, and it's Penn Med. And I told her I wanted a black doctor. She had a friend there that she can recommend me to, so she did. I chose Penn. I didn't know how far it was, but I pursued Penn. I called and I scheduled an appointment with the doctor, and she was 3 months booked. And I was like, okay, because frankly I wasn't in a hurry because I was scared. I'd been through so many needles that I was scared to start the process. But she wanted to do it for my husband at that point, because if he was ready to try again with me, the least I can do was to also try. Obviously I was kind of hindering our dreams of being a family, so I really respect the fact that he was willing to try all over again, because it could have been something else. He could have chosen to start a family somewhere else, but he chose to do it with me. So when I scheduled the appointment and it was 3 months ahead away, I was okay. Then a month later, I did get an email. Was it an email or a text? I don't remember, but I did get a notification that my appointment was cancelled. At that point, I was like, why? What happened? So they told me to call, and I did call. And when I called, the lady, guys, if you are in a customer service business, especially on the phone, do your best to be nice to people, because you don't know how your niceness or whatever you do will impact the person's life. This lady I spoke to changed my own dynamics. I think I spoke to an angel. Okay, so when I did call, I let the lady know that I had an appointment, but I was told it was cancelled, and I was told to call. Oh yeah, this doctor, the black one that I wanted to do, has availability in the next 6 months instead of 3 months. So and already 1 month is gone, so they wanted to let me know, do I want to wait? And I said, I don't have a choice, but I want to. That's fine. And she was really nice. She was sweet and all that. And she was like, okay, but there's another doctor that just had a cancellation, and I can put you in. She's available in 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, I know this call is being recorded, okay, and I know you can't answer this question I'm going to ask, but I need to ask anyways. I've been through too much with a white doctor, and I'm trying not to be with a white doctor this time. I just want someone who cares. I feel like a black doctor would know my body more. And she said that, Rita, I'm going to schedule this appointment for you, okay? I'll give you the name of this doctor. Just go online and Google her. She's amazing in my opinion, and if you do not want her from what you read about her, call me back or call the hospital back and we will cancel that appointment and schedule it with the other doctor for you. I can't tell you whether you're dealing with a black or white doctor, but this is what I can do for you. Very sweet person. I don't even remember her name, but this is what she did. And she said, if I don't get a call from you, we just keep the appointments just as it is, and we will see you in 2 weeks. So I was like, okay. She gave me the name. I wrote it down. When I did Google this doctor, obviously she was white. But this doctor, Google just tells you she's one of the first people who did a successful uterus transplant. Like, she was there. The odds that I got someone like her still amazes me till this day, because she is a big deal. She is a big deal. And it's just amazing who she is. Okay, so I scheduled the appointment and I told my husband we got an appointment in 2 weeks. I was like, okay, let's do it. And we drove to PenMed in Philly. The first appointment, she was sweet. She took, oh, my son is laughing. So I need to attend to the baby boy because it's time for his feed. So I will end here for part 1. I will make another video for the part 2 so that it will not be super long and it will not be super boring too as well. Thank you guys for watching. It was great coming back. I will see you guys in my next video. And don't forget to subscribe. Peace out.